Hello and welcome everybody. It is time for our last game of the day here. Day 2 of the Oceanic Season 3 qualifiers is about to be in the books. We have the final round here. Top 16 is done. Every single team that is now through is playing in their final. And we're going to start all the finals at once here, and we're going to bring you this one here. It's a very special one. We'll explain in a little second why. My name, of course, is Pastry Time. I'm going to be joined for the last time this evening in this best of 3 by Papa Smithy. Papa, how you doing, man?
I'm not Papa Smithy, but I'll take it. I'm doing well. Just managed to get a little feed in because I haven't eaten since before we started casting. But this game is a lot bigger than it seems on paper. I mean, both teams here, at least from the names, Daisy Parade and One Mango, will be unknown to the majority of viewers here. But people who were on the client, who were maybe in the chat channel yesterday and watched Fnatic Array's game, would know that Fnatic Array, the number 1 seeds, were knocked out by the Daisy Parade. So that's already a big medal, a big ups to them. Whereas One Mango here, actually, a lot of players that might not be familiar to viewers, but a lot of diamond tier players on the NA scene.
Yeah, so One Mango is on the right here for this first game. They're on the purple team with lots of, as you said, very, very strong players on the NA server. And of course, moving to Oceanic, the Oceanic server, probably only helped them in terms of ability, because of course, green ping is delicious. Over on the other side, Daisy Parade, definitely a team that is also new. Taking out the first seed, as we said yesterday, in a very dramatic upset in that game there. Obviously very impressive already. A couple of players we do know of. In fact, 2 players that some of the long-time viewers of the scene may identify. Intrepid and Liquid Cheese are back on the same team. They were on, my goodness, I can't even remember their original team name. Before Carnage, I don't know what the team was called. I can't remember it was that long ago. But they were on Carnage together.
That was the sponsoring of the same team.
Yes. A team that almost beat Immunity, actually. Took a game off them. Almost taking them out in a best of 3. Which was, at that time, and still even now, would be a big thing. And upsetting another big team, in this case the number 1 seed Fnatic Array, has to be good things for this team here. And now they're both through to the top 16, they have to play for a seed. Now the interesting thing about this particular match, and part of the reason we chose it, apart from the fact that we expect it to be pretty epic with all the teams, but I mentioned Immunity. Assuming Immunity win their final, guess who the loser of this match has to play?
I'm gonna guess it's Immunity.
It is Immunity, correct. And for those of you who don't know Immunity, probably the best known team in Australia, certainly one of the best, if not the best, certainly the most results as the team, and a very scary team for anyone to have to play in the top 16. So this match, it's just a final. They've both made the top 16 at that point. No matter what happens here, they'll get to play on in that top 16 cutoff, but I think a lot more than just a good seed is at stake here, because assuming Immunity win, and it's usually good money that they will, the loser of this match has to play them here. So, lots on the line here, despite it just being a seed. Of course, congratulations to both teams, but let's get into the draft. So we've had it well and truly underway at this point. Jace, Tryndamere, Elise, the bands out there from Daisy Parade, and Swain, Lee Sin, and Nunu are going to go there for One Mango.
Yeah, the Swain ban is a very targeted ban at Liquid Cheese. Back when he broke out to the scene, Swain was definitely probably 90% of the champs he'd been played and ranked. I imagine he's kept his Swain skills up, and it's been target banned here.
It really has, and I think some people did criticize Liquid Cheese at the time for being only a Swain player, but we saw Nivea in the game, or at least we didn't see it, unfortunately, because we didn't get it on camera, but a lot of people were spectating that game, and he was playing Nivea just fine that game, and I'm sure he's restored some visibility down, broadened his champion pool a little bit here, so, but definitely a targeted ban. That Swain still feared, it seems like, as we see the picks here. Jarvan, Caitlyn, and Shen have come through as the first 3 for Daisy Parade. We've got Hecarim, Sona, and followed up with Singe plus Varus, and now the 4th and 5th picks as we catch up to the draft here are on the table now for Daisy Parade. They're going to be on the blue side here for this first game. Remember, it is a best of 3, and they are playing for seed, which in this case does mean quite a bit more than just winning a couple of games and being a higher seed in the top 16. Definitely going to matter here, the way the brackets are shaking out, because you don't want to have to play Immunity for elimination, at least if you can help it.
I'm super excited to see this Hecarim pick here. I mean, we talk about how strong Hecarim has been in the Chinese scene. We saw Hecarim yesterday, unfortunately in the losing effort. It just never really got going. We never got to see the terror that a over-leveled or a snowballing Hecarim can get. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we're going to see a really strong Hecarim play from One Mango here.
Yeah, well, last game, remember, we did see some pretty sweet Lux Rumble synergy, which Trashbot was telling us in his interview. Yeah, definitely like that synergy. I mentioned in the same series, actually, that I'm a big fan of Jarvan Rumble, and that's exactly what they've got here. Liquid Cheese looks like he's going to play mid-Rumble here, and we've got Nami as the support to round things out here. So, Daisy Parade, not quite unorthodox, but definitely shuffling some strong champions around to maybe places where they don't always go, and oh my goodness, this would be a last pick. and it's locked in. Kassadin is the 5th and final pick here. That is bold, I will say, from 1Mega. That is quite bold.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting here because, I mean, looking at the lane matchups, I'm guessing it's going to be Rumble mid. And I don't know how Kassadin fares in that lane. That's not a lane matchup I'm familiar with. He does have the ability to range CS with his Null Sphere, so that's something. I don't know how much pressure Rumble can exert. I mean, in terms of... It's definitely not a terror matchup for Kassadin, so maybe it's the right time.
Maybe. I mean, the other problem with Kassadin, of course, especially in 5s, is that he often gets picked on in 2v1s. Like in solo queue, it's really hard to convince your team to really coordinate and shut down a Kassadin. And that's part of the reason why Kassadin is actually a fairly strong solo queue champion. But in this sort of situation, competitive 5v5, teams are often, very on the pulse with their coordination overall. And Daisy Parade, I believe, are certainly capable of switching two people into the mid lane. And Kassadin, especially against someone like Caitlyn Nami, is just has an awful time. It is just awful.
I think it's a fair point. And obviously, Rumble's been 1v2ing for months now. He's been a standard 1v2. He was hurt a bit by nerfs, but as long as the jungle's there to help him through his early levels, he'll do just fine. So if that is what they like to do, if they do send 2 mid, Kassadin will suffer.
He will indeed. So we'll have to see if that does come out. I mean, it is a very bold last pick here, as I said, but we'll see if Kassadin can get anything done here. We've got Singed in here as well as the pickup there, probably for the top lane. I mentioned Hecarim jungle there. Sona Varus bottom lane, very solid. Nami Caitlyn, kind of similar. Very much a keep you out sort of lane. Nami, of course, with a great range and that tidal wave, which is a very long range slow that does a little bit of a knock up as well, so it controls a nice bit of space. Caitlyn's long range, of course, going to couple well, and Nami can kind of get Caitlyn out of there. And Tidecaller's Blessing is pretty irritating on a Caitlyn, just because that long range always means you'll guarantee the extra magic damage and a little bit of extra slow there as well when that procs onto you. So potentially some really nice opportunities for Caitlyn to trade aggressively here, no matter which lane opponent she goes up against. Intrepid is back on Shen, which I'm sure fans of the game that did manage to catch it on day one, at the end of day one, will be a fan of. Intrepid, part of them staying in that game and actually taking out Frenetic Array was Intrepid's fairly epic Shen taunt. Among many, many other things. That game was just absolutely insane. But Intrepid seems very comfortable in that pick, and we do have Liquid Cheese here on Rumble, as we said, which is a little unusual, but hey, we've seen him in the mid lane before, and certainly Rumble's not really a champion you pick unless you're confident with it, so I imagine he is just that.
I do like the Singed pick with the potential of being in a 1v1 against Shen, just because Shen, of course, doesn't have access to what makes him a split pushing, the Sunfight game. He gets that split pushing pressure from items. He won't have that till... he's farmed out that 2,800 gold, I believe, item. Whereas Singed, he's going to be running around. He's got Ghost. We know what sort of a champion Singed is. He is able, if he's able to keep Shen at his turret by, killing minion waves, dirty farming before they even break to the turret, he could force Shen to really get far behind in this lane.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I've seen both Shen and Singed today, and I've compared them to each other both times, so I don't quite know what happens when, the Unstoppable Force meets the other Unstoppable Force. But I guess we're going to find out, but I do agree that Shen definitely needs some items to get going on the split push trend, and just in general, I think Singed probably has a slight advantage early on, but if they do end up in kind of their expected lanes as well, or their natural lanes, I think is probably the best way to put it these days, it can be quite an interesting matchup, and jungle pressure obviously plays a huge part in there. Either Hecarim coming in, or Jarvan, who's I guess the last champion to really talk about here. Jarvan, we've seen him a lot. He's a very strong and common pick for a reason, but Jarvan kind of does everything. For sure, and it's going to be... It is, as you said, it's a very exciting combo with the Equalizer because it controls so much space. If those flashes are down, the Cataclysm into the Equalizer is a huge, huge terror. And look at this, Summoner Heal actually is the one thing we didn't mention, taking on Nami there. It's actually picking up a bit of steam. I believe it was Xpecial, who commented that the defensive mastery that buffs heal gives you 5 health per level. And, that obviously adds up to 18 times 5 health at level 18. But he was commenting that even though that's a 1-point mastery in the defense tree, that actually feels more like a 30-point mastery just because it gives you so much health. It gives you that 1 mastery point. Yeah, and if there's one thing a lot of supports definitely crave, it is, effective thing like stats, which they usually can't get all that easily because they have to pick up things like wards or other items or consumables. They don't necessarily have all that much gold. That's kind of their role. They're definitely the last in line in terms of farming, and often they don't farm at all on their team. So you're right. It seems like it's like a really sweet mastery to have. Well, you're getting 200 and something.
240 golds worth of health for 1 mastery point, which is a great trade at level 18.
Yeah, and Summon a Heal, not all that bad a spell either. Definitely find uses for it, especially early on in the laning phase here. So, yeah, it totally makes sense, and it's nice to see that Shazam, I guess. Please be Shazam. That's the best name ever, if that's the case. And you know what?
A lot of high-tier borders here, Pastry Time. These are some quality players, clearly.
Yeah. No reference to the actual quality player, because that might confuse everybody. But yeah, we got some diamond, we got some plat. I mean, and these might not necessarily even be reflective of people's actual accounts either, because it's always hard to know how many Smurfs people have. But I know that I'm sure there's more than one instance of people playing today, a player that I probably have heard of that I wouldn't recognize because they're playing on a different account. But even
on the Australian server, ranked isn't out. People are attached to their ELO and brackets on the NA server.
Yeah.
Things will shake out over time.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Ranked is coming very soon, apparently.
Tuesday 10 a.m., was it?
Something like that, yeah. There was an announcement made that it's very truly on the way. But yeah, 9th of July would be Tuesday. So yes, Tuesday sometime. Fingers crossed, guys. But yeah, if you guys are looking to play on the Oceanic server, you're missing your Ranked, then it is coming. You will have it very soon, as far as we know. So that's good news here. But of course, before we get into that, we've got a little matter to settle here for seeding. And that's going to be our final game of the evening, or games of the evening, and our finals here as well here in this particular bracket. It's going to be Daisy Parade on the left to start things off here in this best of 3. The other blue team on the left, the red squad on the right, of course. They are, in fact, one Mango. 2 teams that have already made a lot of waves here, either by having some very talented players or by taking out some very talented players. And this should be quite the match here. I mean, again, we looked at the brackets, we saw these teams, we thought, you know what, this seems like a pretty sweet final. It seems like both these teams are going to trickle down, and it turns out we were right. So clearly, our estimated strength of these 2 teams was reasonably correct enough. They both made it here to the final today, and we're going to see exactly how this shakes out in the best of 3.
There were actually 4 very strong teams in Blockade. Just a result of the seeded team, Yuma, Frey were there, but 3 unseeded teams, with Diamond, with high platinum quality players, and that's how random seeding works out after the top 16, If there aren't any tournament results to say how strong a team is, you can get these situations with very, very interesting brackets. Yeah,
and that's kind of what happened yesterday. In fact, there's a lot of dancing here back and forth.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be something.
This is, Sparks, I believe, are about to fly. But the water advantage... Actually, both teams just kind of watered as they go. I thought that red guys were standing on top of a ward, but looks like they're not. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, 5v5 action, here it comes. Throw lining up, there's the Electro Harpoon, the knock-and-move from John himself. Amazing! Aqua Prison nails 3 people. Perfection goes down, Cuden in trouble now as well. And oh my goodness, that was epic. The power of Nami, ladies and gentlemen.
The 4-man, 1.5 second stun.
Here it comes again. Goodbye, Ariana Grande. Taunt there as well from Intrepid. More than happy to sacrifice a bit of level 1. 2 quick kills there, straight out of the gate for Daisy Parade. And picking off where they left off, and gonna not quite steal this red buff, but secure it for themselves.
That's the sort of thing where if this was a scrim, you'd say, let's remake.
Yes. Yes.
That is not something you expect to happen in a fighting game. A very important competitive game here. Both teams through the round of 16, but as we've said before, loser plays immunity. That's massive, massive encouragement to try and win this one out. And yeah, Hecarim, he can't even get his blue buff.
He's so low. Blue buff almost killed him. And looks like Hassan is going to have to deal with this, by the way. And Caitlyn's already got a bit of extra gold to boot when she goes back to shop for the first time. Daisy Parade, I thought they might be fully capable of pulling out the 2v1 here up against Perfection. And Cassidy, as I said, this is just awful. He hates this. And look, Becky Gomez tanking for Hecarim in the jungle. Jarvan's finished both his buffs, and Hecarim's just taking his first blue as Stars picked it up. Had to smite there as well, I believe, so...
And he needed the help from his bot lane as well, so... Everyone behind here.
Yeah, just a great level 2 there. And look what she's actually top lane here. So, I guess... I swapped 2 people mid, he kind of has to be, but they decided they want Shen in the 1v2, and they're going to have Rumble up against Singed.
And Rumble is actually a favourable matchup against Singed, so all over the place, good things happening if you're...
Oh, Jarvan diving deep to Perfection in trouble. Going to take a little bit more. Shazam really wants it, he needs a couple more autos, but that's a little too deep, I think. Nami, very dead here at this point. Double kill for Hecarim. And miscalculations ahoy there on that dive. Kind of undoing the level 1 that they just had. Very nice timing for Hecarim and very, very
This is
awkward.
going to be an exciting game, Patient, and that's quite the first 3 minutes.
That's a good start here. But I mean, I have to say, just on a more serious note, nothing's more serious than diving pastry. I do like the fact that, they not only had the discipline to swap into Kassadin to try and force that matchup, but kind of reinforcing the adage lately that it's two solo laners, it's not, a mid and a top. Liquid Cheese, definitely a mid player, has played mid in the game we saw him yesterday in, has played mid as far as I know throughout his league career, but is more than happy to swap up top here to a matchup that suits his team more. And Shen's fine in a 1v2, especially against something like Varus Sona, as long as he doesn't get caught by a Varus or Sona or something like that. We do have a pause, of course.
Having some lag issues, but I think we all need to draw a breath and calm down, because that was some craziness right there. And
it was good.
The pendulum swung a bit back, because Hecarim was almost out of it, right? Needing help on his first buff. He's clear in tatters. Now he's kind of snowballing. That's at least 600 gold, maybe 650 gold from the 2 kills.
Yeah, Hecarim is now having an awful time. Oh, sorry, having an awesome time. He was having an awful time, and he's like, "Wow, that was good." He's right back into this one. Even I think now he's level 3. I don't think he was level 3 when that dive started. 4. He's level 4 now. Yeah. In fact, the highest level in the game belongs to Hecarim. So Stars there with a couple of no, I can't pronounce that word. It's okay. Some very convenient kills there coming up for Hecarim. And hopefully the lag issues resolve soon, so players can enjoy what is already turning out to be a very exciting game. I have to say, I like the philosophy behind the dive. I think it was actually reasonably well executed. Rubber getting in there and then just following up, but just a small misfire there, and Hecarim's timing being absolutely perfect made that a little awkward here. Speed back up to live. Everyone goes through hyperspeed for a little bit, and we are back here. Hopefully the players have resolved whatever connection issues they had, and we can continue on about as even playing field as we can get here. And I think for a big Oceanic tournament, it's so great to have it on a big Oceanic server.
Yeah, this tournament is a celebration of Oceanic esports. It's the start of everything good for Australians, for New Zealanders, for everyone else who get a chance to compete in these tournaments. It's just really exciting that Riot's finally answered our prayers almost.
Yeah, so we're going to continue on here. Shen just doing what he's doing here. Trying to last hit as best he can. Trapper doing a decent job last sitting under tower. Tower hasn't taken too much damage yet, although that tower is eating a little. Stars, he could get very aggressive. Perfection. Akrop isn't up. There could be trouble, but Stars is in there as Hecarim. Basically just to relieve some pressure there. Kassadin not quite ready to get in for the gank yet. Doesn't have a whole lot of tools to work with, unfortunately. And, Nami Caitlyn continuing to be annoying here. Every time the Aqua Prison hits, it's bad news for Kassadin. Looks like down the bottom, Ariana Grande could be in trouble. Got quite low there from a Vorpal Blade from Chen. A little bit of aggressive. Maybe got taunted into the turret there. In fact, Shadow Dash is currently on cooldown, so I have to think that maybe is what happened.
Worth noting that Hecarim is now equal highest level in the game.
Singed getting destroyed up in top lane as well. Liquid Cheese just completely ate into Cuden there. And you said it was a favorable matchup. You weren't kidding. Singed really hates it when people can stick on him. He likes to be the one kiting you around and throwing poison out and flipping you across places and slowing you and just generally, running around you until you die. Rumble is a very sticky champion once that Electro Harpoon first lands, and there's just so much damage he can do as well.
Having a look at the CS values and how they're shaking out. No real big discrepancy. Kassadin obviously looking for a bit of breathing space in mid lane here. But apart from that early shenanigans, doing okay.
Yeah, everything seems okay for now. Except middle lane's going to go back. The duo lane. Often bottom lane, this time not so much. Philosopher's Stone, Berserker Greaves up, and a Longsword. So not a huge buy, but going to help push this Kassadin a little bit more and try and really take this turret down. In fact, turret damage on the mid lane, they have not done a whole lot, unfortunately. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that that big aggressive dive they had kind of misfired for them. Because if that had gone on, I think we might not have a mid turret anymore for our good friends over at One Mango.
And the one timing thing wise that will happen in this game is Hecarim will be level 6 before the enemy expects it, just because of that snowball. There's usually a part time when it's up top, Equalizer goes down, Singed is dead.
And that is the power of Rumble. We saw it last game with Rise vs Rumble. Rumble definitely a bully, and Singed not a happy matchup for him, unfortunately. And Liquid Cheese 1v1s cleanly away Cuden, barely losing any health there. And unfortunately not a whole lot Singed can do there, but just take it. But you're right in the Hecarim's ult, yeah. Stars needs to realize that with the advantage he's gained, he's going to get a quick 60. Now, it might be unfortunate that he has to actually cover this top lane, because yes, he'll probably hit 6, but the enemy's team's now going to know about it, which is, no, never mind, he's going to hide that information for a little longer. So the next camp he does should get him 6, and he really has to take advantage of the fact that he knows he's snowballed a little in experience here. Looking for mid lane action, not even 6 yet, just wants to maybe take it out. Thinking maybe if he drives by a creep that he'll hit 6 on the way through, which is always fun to watch.
A lot of pressure coming down bottom. Shen, of course, doesn't have much many tools. He'll stay alive, but if he ports away this turret, is well done. So he's just trying to last it as much as he can, kind of giving up when it comes to the turret staying up.
Yeah, Jarvan's going to take this red buff. Wouldn't be surprised to see him actually rotate down the bottom. In fact, he's recalling. I think Intrepid's all but giving up for this one. I mean, he could piggyback. Actually, he has teleport, so that would make sense. There we go. So he's going to teleport his way back there, not lose too much. Buy a couple of items. He's got a Chain Vest, he's got a Giant Spell. He's probably pretty happy with that. Going to make it a lot easier to take all this poke from Barris, that's for sure. And he's just kind of got to clear it out. Almost gets a Shadow Dash down there in the bottom lane, but he leaves it for now, and Hecarim's going to do his blue again, it looks like. Although, I think he wants to give this to Kassadin. I don't know if he can give it to Kassadin.
Yeah, Kassadin doesn't really feel like he's in a spot, I think, to get a hand over here, so it might just have to stay and try and get the Hecarim to snowball.
Now,
it's one of those things where it's not ideal for the Kassadin, but if Hecarim...
Oh, they're going again. Great Aqua Prison. Robob picks it up there in the mid. And that was the dive they wanted the first time. Ultimates aside, I suppose. Oh, Cuden again. Liquid Cheese does have the equalizer up as well. There it is, goes down. Cuden getting flames up as well. One more overheat, needs it. Needs to turn around. Bit of damage. Good flinger actually, the ignite as well. But he flashes forward for the last bit of damage. The poison trail's going to do it though. And a nice trade there from Sinch. Knows what he needs to do and gets it done. Managed to trade 1-for-1 there, so his turret doesn't take too much pressure. But the mid turret does go down in and amongst it all. So I guess a win overall after that gank from Kassadin. But Sinch has to be happy with that trade at that point. He played that really well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the fling of the turret with the ignite was a really smart play there. And the equalizing kill works out for them. It's just, I mean, Kassadin's the one who's really suffering here, but he does have a decent CS, and 44 CS, given the 1v2 situation's quite healthy. He has the catalyst, he has some tools, and no blue buff yet, but by the third blue, maybe we'll be able to get back into the game.
Yeah, the thing about Kassadin is, I mean, if you're going to do this sort of 2v1 swap and take out an early mid turret, which is what they've done, I think Daisy Parade needs to rotate and actually put pressure somewhere else now as well, you know. It's not just that you push down a tower 2v1, you should keep pushing. I think in this particular situation, because of Kassadin specifically, it looks like Star's actually going to get this buff stolen away. Oh, Stage United in there as well! Good old out those Onslaught of Shadows gets Hecarim out of trouble. That was a very nice combo there. Cataclysm plus Stange United almost trapped Hecarim in there for good. I believe Rubble also got that red buff. No, he didn't.
No, he secured his red buff, so not the worst trade.
Looks like they're going to rotate top, and this is kind of what I think they should be doing. Looking to get some more kills, pressure some other lanes. Kassadin down the bottom lane now, actually. Looking for the empty lane to pick up farm. I don't blame him. And as I said, you do need to keep Kassadin on a leash, because, you know, you 2v1 him for a reason. It's not just because he's easy to pick on, it's because if he gets farm, it's really, really scary.
Yeah, his late game is scary. His roam, if he's left unattended in mid, is scary. There's a lot of false choices with Kassadin. You just want to keep a hold on him, but this free farm, but from his view at least, is much appreciated.
Yeah, he's very happy to have this empty lane. Bottom turret goes down as well, I believe. I think he took that up, just a bit of extra damage, but regardless, it was going down. Anyway, the mid and top tower now down as Daisy Parade take those away from one Mango, and this is the sort of thing they need to do. I mean, I think with Kassadin, especially when you leave him so down in the early game, you kind of are on a little bit of a timer to get something done before Kassadin really makes a difference. And it's not, like, obviously there are ways for them to deal with Kassadin, but I think they would prefer, especially given the way they chose to start this game, just not have that happen if at all possible. So early grouping might be a thing, Perfection going to get taunted up actually by Intrepid. Going to come in there for a little bit of damage. Ariana Grande looking to get knocked up. There it happens. Varus actually got initiated on here. Cataclysm not quite up, unfortunately, so can't leap on there. And sadly, Cataclysm is not a combo with Kassadin.
No, this is true, but they do have 5 members responding here, so Liquid Cheese is able to free farm up top. Looks like they're going to try the dragon. Yeah,
unfortunately it's not Shen up there, and even if it was, he doesn't have his ultimate either, so I'm going to have to respond to this dragon either with 4 men or just leave it to be. They can maybe try and poke him off. It's Tidal Wave in, they want to do it. Intrepid looking for the taunt. They don't quite get the dragon. Hecarim secures that one with Smite. Now Robert in a little trouble. Onslaught of Shadows straight through. They're onto Shazam, and now it's trouble behind as well. Stars chasing him as well, and the 5th is trying to get out as well there on Caitlyn. Oh, Perfection. Here's the Rift Walk. Stars there slowing with the red buff as well. Little bit of mana left. One more Rift Walk. Might just do it. Looking for it, but doesn't find it. Stars, though, does have it covered. Liquid Cheese will push up here, but he doesn't quite do enough damage to that top turret. And that may have been a bit of a mistake to try and engage so aggressively 4v5, because that was a pure 4v5 there. They had no Shen. Rumble has no teleport. They went in thinking, you know what, we can do this when they're on the dragon. And unfortunately for them, that's the complete opposite of what they wanted.
And there's a very fine line between posturing to look for a smite steal, which is what I assumed Jarvan was doing, and engaging 4v5. You know, as you pointed out, they didn't have the Shen up there. It wasn't one of those situations. They went too far and paid for it.
Yeah, and you know, they had a good early game. They're looking nice. They got a couple of towers down, but they're not insanely far ahead by a few thousand gold where they have an item advantage that can really force that sort of issue. I mean, and it would take a pretty significant advantage to actually get in there. So I like the thought, like, as soon as I saw the tidal wave, everyone's going in at that point. You know, Nami's not just trying to set something up here. And I think in certain situations you could have got there, but a really nice reaction there from One Mango to kind of realize what was happening. Good smite under pressure from Stars as well to make sure to secure the dragon, and then from there it's just, dude, finish dragon, turn around, and lights out, unfortunately, there for Daisy Parade. They're going to have to rethink a little now. I'm actually behind in gold now at this point, as the towers get evened up there, as mid goes down, but 1,200 gold or so behind at this point, with the kills being fairly even and all objectives considered equal. I guess dragon is actually most of the advantage here for Daisy Parade. Now Liquid Cheese has found a new home in bottom lane. Apparently he just wants to be wherever the farm is. So he's down the bottom lane now. I mean, this is a nice tier 3 turret for them to take out. Rumble's decent at pushing at this point with a lot of levels. Certainly reasonably powerful here. Sork Shoes, Haunting Guy's got a Blasting Wand in there as well. I'm assuming Blasting Wand is for Rylai's.
Most likely. You do have a bit of flexibility as to what your first pickup is when you pick up the Rylai's, obviously. It builds very well for an AP.
Yeah, especially, and it's so good on Rumble that I can't imagine he doesn't want to have it. And look, 4-man pressure here in the bottom lane. Shen does have ult now, so Intrepid can get from top lane at a moment's notice, but I think them sending Sinch here is correct. You know, Sinch is probably not going to be able to kill Shen, but he's probably going to be okay. He's actually 2 levels ahead, which is fairly significant, although it's much closer to 1 as we view the experience there. But I mean, Kyuden can't really get bullied out at this point. He's got no Magic Mantle, got a Giant Spell. He's pretty happy right now. And so he's probably going to be able to push Shen in here, and if Shen leaves, that top tower's going down. So the 4-man pressure, they want to put it in now before anything bad happens. Daisy Parade really want to try and get these towers quickly, but Perfection's not even there. He's actually pushing down the mid as Cassidy. And of course, his room, as we talked about before, he's capable of getting there pretty quickly if they need him to.
Yeah, and if they're able to hold this turret with 3 people, I mean, Varus does have 2 tools to AoE clear, so he is actually very good at clearing. And they can get all these advantages. They're getting so much farm on their carries in other lanes. It's a big success. I mean, they eventually have to give it up, but they'll take that trade.
Yeah, I mean, Sinch currently proxying there, very deep towards the tier 2 turret, just happily taking out these minions. Bit of damage onto the mid, actually quite a significant amount of mid. It has just over 1,000 hit points left. It's Perfection. They're doing a little bit of work pushing those waves in, and at this point, Cassidy, he might not have a great wave clear early on, but when he gets a couple of levels, oh my goodness, all the damage. The Rift Walk, the Force Pulses, it's all good. And I think Sinchi could be in a little bit of trouble. Cheese here, going to try and sneak him out. No flash, remember, either. Good taunt in there from Intrepid. Sinch going to try and ghost his way out of it and just regen all the way he can. There's it goes. Good equalizer to cut off the escape up, but Stars coming in there as well. Liquid Cheese flashes forward aggressively. Perfection trying to cut him off as well. There's one kill. I think Intrepid's going to go down here as well, though. Rift Walk forward there. And that is going to be the death of Shen. Robbo trying to get in there as well. Caitlyn now in and amongst it. And Liquid Cheese trying to just get an Electro Harpoon down for the slow Perfection. Got to be careful. Likely to get out of here with the Rift Walk, and there it is. But Stars could be in trouble. A great tidal wave almost clips him as he tries to retreat. But he activates Devastating Charge, and that is Hecarim peacing out.
Yeah, able to hold on to the Onslaught of Shadows there. Quite a long cooldown at level 1, so the fact that he was able to escape with only the summon spell, good job there by Stars. Yeah,
and Stars actually, for all his, bad early game turned into very good fortune early game, he's got some pretty nice items already. A quick locket and a Spirit of the Elder Lizard already complete. And the Elder Lizard is one of those things where you always want it if you can, but you really kind of have to get it early. And at this point, Stars, he's feeling the snowball a little. Oh my goodness, Crescendo coming in there as well. Onslaught of Shadows ravages through a couple of members of Daisy Parade, and the damage comes in. A good Cataclysm, but the AoE still in there as well. Gomez actually gets the kill there. Sona picks it up. The shutdown for Nami picks up the kill, and Hecarim, a good flash out there, but Perfection. Roofworks there is no escaping the Cassidy, and Liquid Cheese now is going to get exhausted. Nowhere for him to run either. Shen, the last member left to try and get chased down here. Ariana Grande is trying to make it happen. Tainted Corruption is a thing he could flash for it here, but it's going to be a little risky. He's got to make sure he hits the skill shot, and you know what? They'd rather just push mid here.
And all that was facilitated from holding on to Onslaught of Shadows. So massive props to Stars there for holding on to that cooldown, using the longer cooldown, the Ghost, to get away, but keeping the amazing initiation available from Onslaught of Shadows there.
Yep, and that rotation comes through. Ariana Grande going to clear out this one now as well. Team might rotate down, do a little bit of damage to this tier 2, but they collected the tier 2 target mid after a couple of kills. And there's actually something we mentioned the game before. We were watching Habasco and Friends, and they were in kills where they were behind, but they were finding kills and finding ways, but could never really move out and take objectives. In this case, I think One Mango really exemplified that when you take a couple of kills, you need to do something with it. It's not just enough to collect the gold from those kills and call it a day. And in that case, they got a very important tier 2 turret out of that, as well as the 3-4 kills they got.
The momentum's definitely switching back in their way, and it's the Hecarim. It all comes down from just overcommitting to a turret dive very early in the game when the turrets do so much of their life. And this dragon will be a good start to answer the questions they posed themselves the other days of Parade.
Hecarim's not there, but Rumble's ultimate is up. Nobody really wants to go in and fight. In fact, Shen isn't there, is who I meant. Apologies, but his ult was not up, in my defense. So, nice bit of dragon there. Helps them equalize the gold a little more. They're not too far behind. About 2,500 or so in the hole. Sar's going to make it a little more as that turret goes down. 4 for 3 now the turret score. As it's all 6 outer turrets gone on either side. And the one tier 2 turret in mid there as well for Daisy Parade is no longer with them. I mean, a lot of posturing here. They were approaching the 20-minute mark, and it feels weird, but things are really going to pick up at the 20-minute mark, it feels like. Both teams are on fairly even footing. They've opened up a lot of opportunity for themselves. They've opened up a lot of the map. It's a bit early to be thinking about Baron, but you have to think that teams are going to want to find a foothold in the jungle. I mean, let me ask you this, Papa Smithy. We've seen so many games this tournament so far where a team was ahead, and all they had to do, and they took out the outer turrets, and they kind of wade through the enemy jungle, ward it up, and get picks from there, and just kind of take the map over more and more. What happens when the map control is equal or close to equal, which I think is definitely more the case in this game?
At least the little things like baits, for example, baiting a support with oracles to come and then just taking them out. The team with the stronger wave clear starts to get an advantage there just because you can push waves and then go clear with the oracles. If there's if both teams have oracles, and the team with the better wave clear can push waves and clear and ward faster. So lots of little subtle things happen because, everyone's playing around the same objectives. The same amount of turrets here, just one more turret on the one Mango side. It's the same objectives they have in mind. It's just a really equal game.
Yeah, they're definitely pushing through mid now on one Mango just to try and keep tabs. They push that minion wave back. They get a lot of vision kind of back in the base. They have a little bit more space over the map, so that tier 2 turret definitely not irrelevant in terms of control, but you're right in that the objectives are fairly close. I have to say the mobility on this team is pretty insane from one Mango, just mainly with Castanen and the fact that they're doing a lot of good roaming as well. Hecarim's actually fairly mobile as well. And sure, Shen is great, and I think Intrepid's definitely going to be trying to run the split push here, but Castanen can pretty much get where Shen is and clear waves fairly quickly as well. Probably quite a bit faster than Shen, I'd say, actually.
Yeah, and after being well held down, he's right back in the game as Castanen at this point. And the Hecarim's the one that came out of the whole situation feeling the best, and he's working on his Runic Bulwark now. And when he gets that finished in combination with all the cooldown reduction and damage afforded by his first 2 purchases, he's just going to be that scary Hecarim that you just see once upon a time in solo queue.
Yeah, Singed right now is also running the push as well. I think Rumble can likely stand toe-to-toe with him, although Singed with Rylai's now with the Tear of the Goddess, which is likely fully stacked. It's very close, 728 stacks there on that one, so not long to go there for Singed. He can have Ceres if he likes it, once he buys the upgrade, of course. But there's a lot of, Castanen's always putting pressure on one of these lanes here. He can also move between mid and bot here, so having this tier 2 actually, I think has a surprisingly profound impact on this game in terms of just how aggressive and how much control one Mango can try and exert here. The danger, of course, is if some sort of all-in happens and they go for initiation, and Jarvan can definitely facilitate that, especially with Rumble as well. But right now, Daisy Parade are kind of getting split push in, and they certainly do not want this to be happening because there's not a whole lot they can do in this situation, certainly compared to the champions that are on the one Mango side. And we do have a pause now to mull over a little more. Seems like people are still having some net problems, unfortunately.
Yeah, sounds like some lag issues on the Daisy Parade side. It's smart to split just because, so far this game we have never seen the Rumble ult into the Jarvan ult that we were harping on about before the game. It's still an unknown. It's still something that is to be feared, but they just haven't had that full-on team fight. And maybe they're just waiting for a certain item threshold, like the Runic Bulwark being completed, before they start forcing these fights.
Yeah, could be. Seeing what's going on here, Jarvan. Yeah, pretty close to his Bulwark. Got his Spirit of the Ancient Golem up now as well. There's 4 members here now. Shen is with them, so he can't join them. That tier 2 turret's going to go down. There's a lot of pressure mounting pretty quickly here for one Mango, and they're creeping ahead in gold as they do so, taking out these objectives. I guess the unfortunate situation is that you're right in that they have definitely a combo more suited to some sort of initiation, whether it's, 4v4 with Shen off somewhere who comes in, or all as 5 if Shen's ult happens to be down or just he happens to be with them. They really want to force the issue when they can, because they've got great initiation with Tidal Wave, Jarvan just going in and Rumble ult there as well. In fact, they might look for a spot here. They have to be careful though. All 5 members of 1 Mega grouped up also. I'm trying to steal up this blue buff. I almost feel like they should just do it now, because they're not going to get that many chances to catch the team grouped up. But it is scary here. They're going to try and get him in there. Speed up there from Caitlyn. Stage now to get it coming. They want it onto Cuden. They're actually going to go for this Singed here. Oh, Intrepid does manage to just get the taunt off there. And the rest of the team are kind of split around. The Cassidy in the back that assassinates that Nami. Really wants to peel them off here. Sona up in there as well. That is the kill onto Singed. Chain of Corruption comes out as well. The damage still coming there. The chain might be enough. The Cataclysm onto one of Shadows happens. And Crescendo in the back there as well. Perfection cleaning up there with a double kill. It's going to be almost a triple as Varus grabs that one. And there's another one in there as well. The triple total there for Kassadin. And I did say they had to go in. I don't know if I wanted them to go in on the Singed there, because they did kill him.
Attention. They chose the Singed. That was the EQ target that Rebel felt most confident about, but that was just far too many tools used on a tanky Singed.
Yeah, it's not just Jarvan going in. They put Shen on top of him as well to initiate. And, if it had been that Varus or been that Kassadin, they could likely CC for a long enough time to either kill completely or at least move him out of the fight long enough for them to keep going. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. Perfection chased the nearest closest target he could. Even though they were split up, he used his mobility, and him and Sona just rolled around the back, eventually managed to get Crescendo off, and then it was just Janitor City.
And now all outer turrets down for the Daisy Parade here, and that is a horrible spot to be in. Now they need to have even more wards. They need to fill their inventories with wards. Otherwise, just with a few well-placed wards, the whole of the map will be open up to 1 Mango.
Yeah, and suddenly a game that was, maybe 2,000-3,000 gold ahead is catapulted to 8 or so at this point. And Shazam, he's trying to ward up here, trying to defend Baron, which is smart. They absolutely need to have vision around Baron. In fact, multiple wards being put in the Baron pit. I guess just to make sure it's warded. Maybe it's, I guess if they're going to clear them, it doesn't matter too much because they're not hidden. But, wants to make double shot. Pretty sure Becky Gomez will be happy to clean up a couple wards here. So whether they're putting down pink wards with oracles, maybe that's a bug. Yeah, I think that's a... Oh, no, maybe not. Intrepid going in on Stars, by the way. They're trying to ward bait them in. They're good Aqua Prison. That was both of them. Equalizer in there as well. Jarvan in the back as well. Exactly what they need here in terms of initiation. 2 quick picks will go a long way here for them. Caitlyn getting flipped in though as well. Tidal Wave coming out. Caitlyn very low. They're taking too much damage from Singed and Hecarim. Doesn't manage to go down there. A good Varus ultimate in there as well. Singed now in the mix. And here comes Janitor Kassadin. He wants to clean up Liquid Cheese. Going to be the first victim here. Intrepid surely can't last long here either as Varus kites back and forth. And Roab, I don't think he's going to be able to run. The Kassadin's going to chase him. Rifok over the top after the null split is going to be yet another race. And 1 Mango, they've gone from 0 to 100 in what feels like very, very short space of time here.
And to be fair, though, their pastry time, that was the perfect time for the Daisy Parade to initiate. Gaston was actually around the Dragon Pit at that point. He was nowhere near his team. But Hecarim is so big. Runic Bulwark, Spirit of the Elder Lizard, Spirit, the Locket. He was just so strong. He lived so long that he could hold on to his ultimate, waited till he, in his dying breath, used the Onslaught of Shadows aggressively. And Kassadin came up, as you said, for Janitor duty. And
Janitor duty, indeed. I mean, I agree. I thought it was a fantastic initiation, but both Singed and Hecarim proved to be far too tanky for them to kill out. I mean, you destroy a Sona, it's like, okay, it's a Sona dead. I mean, okay, and use Crescendo all that well is not great, but it's not like Sona got wiped off the map. Eventually died. Crescendo to at least buy time there in that situation, and I haven't quite pushed down these inhibitor turrets yet, but they've got to be feeling really good about that position. Suddenly 10,000 gold ahead.
And you see, the big issue that's happened in this game is that Shen has never been able to split push. And what you'll have noted before is that Shen was grouped, and it was Rumble versus Singed. And you're right, Rumble is a very favorable matchup against Singed, but Shen is not a good matchup against Singed, especially considering Shen's behind an item. He only just picked up a second giant, so he doesn't have much wave clear apart from the Sunfire Gate, whereas Singed is really big now. 2 big AP purchases out from Singed, so they have to send Rumble against Singed. Then Shen's grouping, and it's not creating the false choice that Shen's all about.
No, and sadly Liquid Cheese doesn't have something like Teleport, which, to be fair, if he had, he might not have gotten the kills that he got in lane as well, so he's probably happy in the early game about Ignite, but I think at this point, given the problems with Singed and that Shen can't really get it going, he probably wishes he had Teleport at this point, but hindsight is, of course, 2020 and cleared out here. This could be...
You first pick Shen, hoping that you're going to expecting the Shen split push, but it's been countered well here.
I mean, they're going to try one more time. But everyone's grouped here. The golden item advantage pretty significant here. Liquid Tea's going to get chunked down to half health by Kassadin. Just getting the Riftwalk stacks going. Good Aqua Prison there onto Singed. Throws out the Mega Adhesive in midair. That was quite amusing. But doesn't quite reach anyone, unfortunately. Not that it really matters. They got what they want here. One Mango want this Baron. They've cleared out all the vision. And now they're going to see if they can take it down. It's taking a reasonable amount of damage, but I think they're going to give a chance to teamfight here. Kuden going to slow them all down, take as much damage as he can. He turned on his ultimate already. Yeah, he did. Ultimate's on. Tidal Wave's in. Baron not going to get finished, but they're going to turn around and fight Aqua Prison. There's a perfection coming in for the damage. Goods on is in there as well. Crescendo nice in there, and the Chain of Corruption follows in as well. But Caitlyn's still alive. They may get popped here. Intrepid, very low perfection, trying to kite back and forth, and nothing they can really do, unfortunately. Too far behind here are Daisy Parade. And One Mango, that may just be the last push here. Don't even need the Baron. I mean, talk about false choices, Papa Smithy. That's one of the classic ones in League, it feels like. Baron or fight me.
And the thing is, they have the two champions we've seen false choices created around today. They have Shen and Rumble on the same team. But it's all for naught.
I mean, at this point, just a couple mishaps here and there. A decent early game, carried pretty well through the mid game, but just some really methodical, really calculated split push here from One Mango, and they've just snowballed themselves a gold lead. And at this point, it's so hard to come back from such a gold deficit. You saw then, I mean, those were their choices. Give the enemy team Baron, make it harder to fight them, or fight them at a point where you're 10,000 plus gold behind. Infection even stealing the blue buff away now as well, just to add insult to injury. Mid inhibitor down now as well. I mean, they've got 2 inhibitor towers and some inhibitors left. Baron is still technically up, but it's a very
such a fall from grace, because remember, they were 3-0 up as the game started. It almost felt like the game was over at that point. And then one aggressive dive started the Hecarim snowball. The Singed counterpick to Shen has forced some lane swapping they wouldn't have wanted. And now we sit here 28 minutes staring at the barrel of a One Mango victory.
Yeah, and Stars there. Shazam with a nice Aqua Prison. Hecarim not going to follow up on the support. Doesn't quite feel like blowing on Sword of Shadows there. Understandably, Liquid Cheese might be a better target. Kassadin comes in, finds the slow. Niles Fury in there as well. Kuden's actually coming in. He wants to fling him in. Perfection there with another Riftwalk. And that's a fling there. Legendary now for Kassadin. For all the troubles he had, Rubber, I think they've probably had enough. And Varus picks up that kill there. That's a nice little bit of sportsmanship. This job.
They had their pick of people there.
Yeah, and Caitlyn as well. She's about the same thing. Feel like this is going to be the end of the game here. Looks like there is a surrender vote here, and game 1 will go to One Mango as they take this best of 3 up 1-0 here in our last game of the day, or last games of the day, I should say. And we knew a little bit about Daisy Parade. We certainly knew their reputation from day 1, taking out Frenetic Array. Didn't know too much about One Mango, but had heard some good things, and I feel like we got rewarded with a pretty nice game there.
Yeah, the whispers were right, and that was a surprisingly one-sided game to One Mango. And it just changed on a dime. It changed on one aggressive mistake, and from there it was all One Mango.
Yeah, all Hecarim all the time, or apparently a Mango, just a single one.
That's the Hecarim we talk about. That's the mythical Hecarim that gets going in a big way.
Yeah, and definitely did there, and compound a lot of other problems. Just some really smart play overall with a lot of split pushing and abusing their mobility against a team that really wanted to initiate. And One Mango take it cleanly there at the end of the game, 10,000 plus, I think close to 15k ahead at that point. And game 1 there in the book so far. We've got one game left, maybe one more. But if One Mango want to take the clean sweep 2-0, guarantee that they probably won't be playing immunity, then they have to go ahead and win this one. Otherwise, it can even back up to 1-1 and force a third and final game, which, frankly, for a final would be nice and fitting here. A last best of 3 is coming up, guys. Game 2 between One Mango and Daisy Parade will be back up shortly. And hello everybody, welcome back. It is time for potentially our last game here in this best of 3. It has been a long few days here as we're rounding out day 2 of the Oceanic Season 3 Championships here. My name of course is Patreon, and I'm going to be joined by possibly a last game here for Papa Smithy. We actually have one Mango up 1-0 here against Daisy Parade. Daisy Parade of course needs to bring it back 2 straight games if they want to take this best of 3. And Papa Smithy, it's been a long day, we're getting a little tired, I'm sure the players are too, but we've still got epic League of Legends to watch, don't we?
Sure, and that's the exciting thing for me. My words are starting to slur. I'm running out of those exciting factoids just because my brain's been so tuned to all the action we've had today. And it's a journey that everyone goes on, right? We started with so many teams. We're going through that hard journey to whittle them down to what is going to be, I mean, if this game is any indication, an amazing Final 16.
Really should be, and this is, yes, the start of the top 16, I suppose. Remember, all the teams that have made it to the finals are guaranteed top 16 at this point. What is not guaranteed, however, is your seed in that particular cutoff. So that's what all the players are playing for now. All those teams are playing for their seed once they get through to the top 16 bracket, and then, of course, with a cut to top 8 and then a cut to top 4. The 4 teams. So from this 16, only 4 of the teams are going to get to go to the offline final. They're at PAX, live from PAX in Melbourne, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, which will be super duper awesome. And right now we have one more game here, one Mango looking to get through here, and we kind of we're joking that saying that, you know, seeding games don't really matter too much. Like, you're not out, so there's not that pressure there. But in this situation, what these teams are playing for is most likely the honor of not having to play immunity in top 16. So
yeah, you'd never choose to play Immunity, right? Immunity have won basically every major tournament in Australia for the last 2 years under their various brackets. So always a huge reward to not have to face them in the round of 16, not have to face them until you absolutely have to, i.e. at the tournament. So a lot on the line here, and it's interesting that we finally see the Jace pickup coming out today, pastry time.
Yeah, so Swain, Lee Sin, and Nunu, the bans out there from one Mango. We've got Daisy Parade banning out Jarvan, Kassadin, and Trinity, so do not like that Kassadin. They saw last game, but that does leave Jace through as the first pick here. We've got Shen and Janna, the pickups there, and then we followed up with Sona and Vi, interestingly enough. So Stars kind of going with, I wouldn't say unpopular junglers, but we haven't seen them for a little while. Hecarim, we played last game. You know, we see him every now and then, but doesn't always pop up as, you know, one of the big solid picks that kind of the mainstays, at least recently. Vi, kind of the same deal. Like, she was very popular for a little while and dropped off a little. Still fairly fine, still good, but haven't seen her for a while. Looks like Stars, though, wants to play some Vi this time around.
Yeah, Vi had her first round nurse and then fell off the planet. Like, we were seeing quite a lot of Vi. I mean, her massive strength with mid lane ganking, you know, the fact that she can dash with her Q into an ult that basically takes up the whole lane. You know, the ability to get that instant suppression down was a common counterpick to like a Twisted Fate mid, actually. So it was very popular there, but then we saw some nerfs to her numbers. And our most recent, I know this patch makes it so that she still CC'd at the end of her ult channel if her CC is applied to her during the channel. So a lot of small nerfs, but Vi is a lot like Hecarim in that if she gets going, if she can balance the tanky and damage items, you know, if she can afford to get Elder Lizard without falling behind in health pool or anything like that, she can be massively strong.
Yeah, we've got Vayne and Elise over on the other side there for 3rd and 4th pick there for Daisy Parade. And I saw a couple of ones here from Cudneys going through different champions. Seems like we're going to have Varus again here, so they like that champion. They're going to want to run it again. Cuden's going to settle on... It's not Teemo in there as well. Looks like Kennen might be a little bit more suitable, and it is in fact going to be Kennen. So one team getting Kennen and Jace is something that we don't see all that often, I guess. Usually one of those is banned, or have Elise as well. So those 3 champions that often get bans pointed at them have not had any of them so far. So one team gets 2, the other team gets 1. To be fair, Daisy Parade got the Shen that it seems like they really want. Like Intrepid's Shen maybe didn't have the game he wanted quite the last game, couldn't really get in the position, but certainly they seem to like to play Shen. They value it quite highly. Intrepid seems fairly competent on that champion, so... But to give away Jace and Kennen, Papa, I don't know.
And that's the thing. When we saw XL5 Luna play yesterday against an amateur team, it was all about their first 3 picks. It was Jace, Kennen, and Thresh, and it was like, wow, that's quite the first 3 picks. But Jace and Kennen, flexible laners, can go either top or bot. They do everything. They win lane. They're very, very strong laners and strong team fighters. I mean, Jace can be very strong in a poke comp, but is a fairly good team fighter. Kennen's okay in a poke comp, a fantastic team fighter. There's just so much to like about them.
Yeah, last pick Anivia here coming in as well. This is definitely feels like a Liquid Cheese standby. It was the other champion we saw him play yesterday when they took out Frenetic Array. And of course, his Swain's not available here. It's been banned out again out of respect. And he played a fine Rumble last game, but I guess didn't like the Rumble as much for whatever reason. Gonna go back and play Anivia here instead.
I feel like last game was all about Hecarim, right? He was way behind. We were worried about, will Hecarim be relevant at all? 2 kills, bam, everything changed. I think Vi, at the Stars once again, has the key here, because if Vi gets ahead, it's much like Hecarim. It's scary. If she gets behind, and she basically suppresses someone into instant death when she drops down from that suppression. So, I mean, Stars showed that he's a fantastic jungler, has the potential to be in the first game. Once again, his offbeat kind of choice makes me wonder how this game's going to go for him.
Yeah, and it may just be that Stars' jungling, he certainly his early game and how that all goes, determines a lot of how the rest of his team plays out. I mean, after Perfection's Caston, I'm really scared to give him a champion quite as powerful as Jace. And just in general, I mean, we've talked about it, Papa. We didn't think that, come the top 16, we were going to see any Jace at all. But, I mean, I guess there are other things you have to take out. The Caston was banned here. Tryndamere was banned as well. And there's clearly things that they fear more than Jace here, because it has gone through. I guess we'll have to find out, Papa, but he's just so good.
I think Perfection, from when I spoke to other teams, a bit of scouting report on him, he was playing a lot of Caston in scrims, and showed why it's a feared thing. Because remember, he was well held in laning phase. He died in lane, he was behind in CS, he was CSing fine, but They took his turret. Like, a lot of things were done to shut down the Caston. A lot of things you'd expect for a good competitive team to do to shut down a Caston, and he still came back and went legendary. So maybe it was a case of, okay, we thought we could play around it. We clearly couldn't. Let's just ban it.
Yeah, and then I guess having to slot the Tryndamere ban in there as well just seems like you can't ban everything. That is it, right?
I don't know. Twisted Fate, what goes through the picks and bans here? That's another common pick and ban. There's strong champions that fell through. Look, unbelievably, Thresh neither picked nor banned here. Yeah,
Thresh is definitely a champion that doesn't usually fall through the picks and bans. We've got Janna here, which is kind of an interesting choice from Shazam, and Sona is the spot over this side. I almost expect, if the one team gets Sona, I almost expect the other team to have Thresh, but obviously that's not the case, given that he was not picked or banned at all this game. In fact, last game, I'm trying to remember, he wasn't picked, right? Was he even banned?
I'm not sure about. He might have been banned last game again. I'm not sure. You can see a lot of flavor bans here. Right? The only standard ban out of 6 bans here is Nunu.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's interesting that Oceania as a region doesn't seem to like Twisted Fate all that much, because he's fallen through a lot, and that's a champion that almost never ever gets to go anywhere in a lot of other scenes. So maybe we're the no Twisted Fate region.
I feel like Twisted Fate's a champion that will pick up more play as a scene develops. It's one of those things where if you want to play a Twisted Fate comp, you kind of need to know exactly the mindset of the Twisted Fate player and exactly the mindset of your allies when you're the Twisted Fate, because they need to know this is how you use Destiny, for example. Are you going to aggressively space it behind the enemy? Are you going to go for safe Destinies? Do you have any preferences for which lanes you get? You need a lot of communication, mechanical skill, and game knowledge to be able to play Twisted Fate. And most of these teams, they haven't been together that long, so it's kind of a risk to pick such a mechanically demanding champion for a team, not let alone for a player, sight unseen. So maybe it's something that by the next big tournament or as the year goes on, we'll see more of that Twisted Fate.
Yeah, kind of commenting on what you said about teams not being together that long. If you had an interview with Trashboat before from Fig Jam, he said the team has literally been together for 5 days. So, yeah, it's a big tournament was announced. There's not a whole lot of time to get your registrations in. I know a lot of teams, a lot of strong players kind of came out and reformed new teams or formed entirely new teams. And, we've kind of got the best 16 so far, as we're currently in the top 16. But it is funny that, a lot of teams would not have had all that much time to prepare, which is great. 845 of you registered, 603 of you played on the day. And now we're down to 16 from that number, Papa. 16 from 603. And by the time the weekend comes around, I believe we'll be at top 8 come next Saturday, Sunday.
And the idea is that this growth will be sustainable. Hopefully these 16 teams, these best 16 teams in Australia, I say that tempered with the knowledge that, the great Frenetic Array, the top seeds aren't in this top 16, but these are 16 quality teams. If they stick around and get stronger and stronger, it'll help Oceanic esports, right? It'll be a bigger thing than just coming together for one event. That relies on there being other events. That relies on people staying together. But hopefully this is the start of a really, really strong and competitive scene.
Absolutely, and with a tournament like this at such a venue as at PAX Australia, with a pretty nice prize pool to go on top with if you happen to make it to top 4, yeah, I think if this sort of thing keeps happening, everyone's going to be happy about it. Oceanic Esports, it's a strong start we're having here with the kickoff to the server and a great tournament to have as well. It's day 2 of the online qualifier. If you are somehow just joining us, this potentially, as I said, is our last game here. It's a best of 3 we're currently in right now between Daisy Parade. They're on the bottom there of your screen as we are in the loading screen versus One Mango up the top. One Mango currently up 1-0 here, and of course if they win this game, that'll be it, the sweep for 2-0, and the top seed coming through there in their final, and of course if it's equalised to 1-1, we'll have a third game to decide basically who doesn't get to play arguably the best team in Australia in immunity. So if that's you up to speed, if you haven't missed anything at all, please feel free to check out the archives. You can do it on the Twitch channel, of course, as well. And thanks for everyone showing up. There's been quite a few of you from what I've heard, and I've had a lot of opportunity to interact with a lot of you via Twitter and the like, and it's been great to hear your feedback, and it's been really great that you're supporting the tournament. So thanks again, of course, to all of you out there watching. Thanks again to all the admins who are doing an absolutely incredible job. Yesterday was an absolute nightmare with 603 teams to organize, and they did a very good job keeping the tournament running smooth for that, of course. Thanks to ACL for hosting this event. Thanks for bringing it to us. And a good shout out to our proud sponsors, of course, Plantronics and Logitech as well. So thanks to everyone. This is, of course, potentially our last game, so we've got to get it all in there. And here we are going to kick things off. Daisy Parade on the right there, your red team for potentially our last game here in game 2. And on the left there, on the blue side, is One Mango. The winners of the last game here, currently standing at 1-0 up with a very dapper-looking Jace there leaving the mid lane.
Absolutely, and Vi herself also. We got the Vi skin here, which is nice and flashy too, so a lot to like about both teams here, and it'll be interesting to see how Daisy Parade play on the back foot. Obviously, some of us would have seen their fantastic win over Frey. They really struggled in that first game after a huge advantage. Are we going to see repeat aggression here? Because it didn't work out for One Mango last game.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And right now we have quite a few Doran's Blades actually on the One Mango side. As you can see, they're lining up there. Jace has one, Kennen has one, and Varus has one. All make sense definitely on their respective champions, but clearly, want to dominate their lanes. I mean, I think that's probably the most interesting thing about the picks here for One Mango is that they've got some very powerful champions in lane. Champions that can really bully people, champions that can be an absolute menace and, aggressively warding here. We saw in basically all the games yesterday with the established teams versus the non-established teams. And that's certainly not the case here. These are two more or less established teams, even though we may not know all that much about them. When you get to this point in the game, I mean, we saw last game Daisy Parade certainly competent when it came to, running certain lane swaps and reacting to what was going on. And One Mango with a great performance, clearly no slouches themselves. I don't know why people are hanging out at 1:30. I feel like they're in the old jungle all of a sudden. Suddenly, everyone's just.
I know the first few games, though, Page Time, you're like, where is my little bit of gameplay at 140? I want to hit something. I want to use a spell. It's different to now just have that freedom at 140 to 155.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 15 extra seconds, discuss some strategy, talk about your level 1. But everyone's sort of a gentleman's agreement here. Everyone's just pissed off, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. We'll just
they
we'll just
take
our
buffs.
last
game. I mean, last game was all about the actions, and now they were just like, okay, truce. Let's chill.
And actually, double golems are going to get taken here anyway. So interestingly enough, One Mango on the blue side still going to take the golems away despite the late spawn. Doing a really nice job of tanking these, by the way. Take barely any damage from those, and yeah, they've got him. I mean, how much CS they down? Vayne has 1 currently, with a couple more to go here.
1 minion.
Yes. And there it is. Gets the second one, and should be all good to get the rest of them here. So, I mean, the way to fix double golems apparently ignored here by One Mango. They're still on the double golem trend.
The thing about what they did with double golems, right, is you can still take double golems. There's just going to be an opportunity cost. Depending on how strong your bottom... Like, you can't take double golems on every bottom lane duo because some of them... Oh, wow, as we see, nice damage coming in perfection in mid. The downside for some duo laners is that you take them too slow and you miss all the melee minions, for example. Then it's not really worth it. But if you have Varusona with AoE, with hitting both targets, it could be worth it.
Here comes Rubub as well on Elise in human form, ready to throw a cocoon. They want to kill the stone. Actually hits Varus and take instant cleanse out of there. And the Howling Gale's going to miss in there as well. Very, very nice cleanse there from Ariana Grande. That's the goodness of the green ping right there. Instant cleanse out of that cocoon. And thank goodness too, he was probably very dead. If that wasn't like I said, Nivea and me getting get egged here, it looks like perfection. So close to making omelets. Just not quite there yet. And this is Jace, as far as I'm concerned. Just incredibly powerful bully. And Anivia, a very squishy champion. She's maybe even having a couple of problems here with his internet. Although, Who knows? Could it be a classic sports timeout pause?
He was hitting some very nice cues, so it didn't seem to be hurting him too much. But
could be someone else's internet. We have had, I think, a couple of net issues across this series so far. Game 1, I think, had about 3 pauses in it also, so people seem to be having a little bit of trouble with their connection. Looks like it didn't last too long. We're back. But yes, and Ivia is not going to enjoy this if Jace keeps doing it. And I mean, he is a bully, Papa. What do you say? Jace, he does everything. He pokes, he bullies. He's a good melee guy. If he gets ahead, he split pushes.
Good team fighter sometimes. I mean, the poke is insane. I mean, Jace does everything, and he even has those free stats in melee form that everyone else had removed. As we're having again some latency issues here, I think.
That's true. Jace, the last true transform champion, is. I have a very interesting sound coming through my headphones, but I don't know what you guys have on stream. Classic pause bugs. Unfortunately, not too sure what the issue is because my chat is disabled, but I imagine we're just having some connectivity issues here or there. Of course, even though we're on the new Oceanic server, which if you are from Oceanic and you're playing on, hope you're enjoying them so far. I certainly am. And it's great to have a tournament on such low ping. Definitely having a tournament on competitive level ping feels real nice. Feels really good. And I'm sure a lot of the players and everyone we've talked to seems to be really excited to be able to play on such a level playing field. But, you know, Australian internet is still jokingly Australian internet, so people can have connectivity problems.
So what have you found? Like, what sort of champions or what sort of things have you noticed about League of Legends that's been different now that you've had the green ping?
Well, you mentioned that Flash had been buffed. I couldn't agree more. I had to change my pants the first time I flashed. It was just that amazing.
Yeah, it's just so instant. So, you know, it feels like the cast time's been reduced, right?
Yeah, it was buffed, right, the last patch? That's what you told me?
It does feel that way. And then Lee Sin, I mean, every normal game, it feels like, has 2 Lee Sins just because being able to ward jump, being able to do your insect-like maneuvers is all possible now.
The thrill of Lee Sin is finally true to us all. Yeah, no, it's been really good. Just even little things like being able to stop certain attack animations. In fact, that trolled me a little when I first started.
Yes, cancelling last hits forever.
Yeah, you know, I'm used to cancelling them, but not nearly that late. And all of a sudden, I'm cancelling it, you know, just before the last frame of animation where I'm able to. And being like, what is going on? How did this happen? And we do have a regime here as well. So hopefully we're
very quaint, though. Like, I feel like everyone else, apart from the Aussies, doesn't know what we've been dealing with.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, the Fijians, certainly.
Exactly, who unfortunately were eliminated in the first game.
Ariana Grande in trouble. Condemned there actually may have missed the target. Could have just been trying to get Sona out of the way. So much trade damage in there as well. These 80 carries in bottom are very, very low. But I think everyone's okay for now. It's really tenuous here as well, because they both kind of have the same item and a similar damage potential at the early levels, and their supports are going to do roughly the same thing. I mean, heal here for Janna actually could come up trumps. So, reviewing the summers here in bottom lane very quickly. No cleanse left. And there's a barrier for Vayne. So I feel like if Vayne and Janna really want to all in here, if they do it effectively, they're probably going to get the kill. But I mean, Vi, knowing that, looked like she was poking down there, but looks like everyone's just going to lifesteal back up or get some on-hit health back with Doran's Blade and called out of that.
I mean, right now, if they were engaged on and they went for a crazy bait, the Janna shields at 120, the heals at 120, 175 coming out from the barrier. Potential for a lot of health differential coming out of Vayne here.
Yeah, Varus, though, getting a lot of health back there. The Sona heals working overtime. Just collecting a bit of health back from Doran's as well. Another pause. I'm very curious to see which players having problems. Actually, might see if... Do you know anything about people pausing? No.
The first 2 pauses were on the Daisy Parade side. This one's actually a 1-man go pause.
Okay. Well, looks like it didn't last too long, so... Again, I mean, to be perfectly honest, given the volume of tournaments you and I have both casted, Papa, the amount of pausing that we've been through over these 2 days has actually been incredibly minimal.
Exactly, like, I don't complain about pauses anymore. It's, we've had them down to 0 seconds, right?
Just for Kuden there. Kuden actually going to miss in there as well, at least going forward, and that is First Blood as Intrepid picks that one up. Nice little gank there.
I'll have to get to live. I was not live, I was behind the action, based you time.
That's okay. That one was maybe slightly in hyperspeed. Hopefully we're not too far behind there on stream. But just poke coming back down in the bottom lane. So everyone's healed back up. Nice to hear. Sona definitely showing that she has a heal. Janna, of course, does not, unfortunately. Unless you counter ultimate, which certainly is a thing.
I was actually speaking to X5 Danian, the AD carry for XL5 Luna, about Vayne matchups, because it feels like we've been seeing a lot of Vayne. And I was like, okay, so we remember that Vayne was always a favorable pick against Ezreal, and she had some trouble with Caitlyn, but she can kill her in a 1v1 situation. Which AD carry is the strongest pick against Vayne? And his answer was Varus, just because Varus has multiple tools, so that even if you have, say, cleanse on Vayne, you'd still have to deal with, you can maybe cleanse the Varus ultimate, you still have to deal with the AoE slow, you still have to deal with his percent health damage. So he said Varus was the most favorable matchup there, so that serves things well for Ariana Grande.
Yeah, and that Sona sustain just kicking in a little harder there. Gonna push back, go back and buy. It looks like Varus has picked himself up a Vampiric Scepter, so the sustain has begun. And it looks like the other two have gone back as well. Bootwater Cutlass actually up for Vayne. So
yes,
I guess
item advantage for Vayne.
Yeah, boots the difference there. Varus actually has those as well, which is why there's a bit of a discrepancy. I believe their gold is quite similar. I imagine it would be. But yeah, Varus
1,400 gold compared to 1,325. So it would have just been a slight amount of CS difference that afforded the Bilgewater.
Sure. And Vayne going to be happy there if they ever get in some sort of 1v1 situation. Which, I mean, Nephithis has been playing fairly aggressively, but it seems like Ariana Grande is kind of hitting a stride here in terms of just pushing out the minions, poking Vayne. Everything's going nicely. And Gomez just going to go ahead and do a bit of warding. In fact, this is a surprisingly passive game. I guess compared to last game, that was likely going to happen, but even Elise here, we noticed a very strong ganking jungler, has only had that one gank up in top lane, hasn't over-aggressively ganked, he hasn't looked, to really go in and waste too much time trying to set up these ganks. I mean, she's been bottom lane a couple of times, she's here again. But it doesn't feel like, anyone's been over-ganking the one killer top lane. Looks like they're actually going for this one as well. Repel coming for Cocoon will land there onto Becky Gomez. And there's a Hellengale plus Condemn. So much damage onto Sona. And a very nice gank set up there by Rubbo. Good bit of poke there from Varus, but Vayne will shake that off with the Bilgewater and just lifesteal back up.
Yeah, looking up top lane, Can actually already starting to lose trades. The Giant spell seems to be the big factor there, and it looks like a very early dragon potentially coming out from Daisy Parade here.
Yeah, they took the kill down bottom lane. They were transitioning over, trying to get that
better
one.
Of it, though.
Yeah, sniffed out there. I mean, Jace can definitely poke you off it. Stars was around there as well. And even Varus, he's still there with his ultimate as well, so it's not like he was going to let it go for free. Not a bad attempt. I think you do it just to kind of see how they react, because you do potentially have a window there to take Dragon, but at the same time you have to make the correct decision to back off there, and they did that as well, so good stuff all around here as the two ninjas battle up here in top lane. Double drones up here for Cannon. A little bit of damage going to come up. Maybe activate Slicing Master. And probably just in here for a bit of trade. And mid lane, oh my goodness, problems here for Liquid Cheese. Gets dunked on there, but Rubub is in there as well. Stars forced to flash away. Tangent United in there as well. There's Elise going back in. And Intrepid's going to throw it a little bit... Sorry. And maybe he's going to throw a little bit more damage as omelets are made. Perfection picks that one up. Rubub in there as well. But knocked into the tower. Great taunt by Intrepid to prevent Jace. And the stun is going to come in as well. Liquid Cheese maybe even be able to pick up this kill. Probably one Frostbite away from picking that one up there. But really nice play overall there from Elise, and good on Intrepid to come in there as well. Turn that one around and just pick up a free kill there on Savai.
Yeah, they got full purchase out of the Shenshu that, Perfection's dead.
Wow, sniped by Liquid Cheese.
Yeah, he got chilled by the ultimate, and the Troll E just followed him to death. Looks like he
flashed for the combo as well. Although he might have flashed earlier. No, probably actually. Wow, kind of silly for Perfection to stand at a spot where that's potentially could happen, but hey, the good cheese will take it.
And much like last game, much earlier, but an early lead once again for the Daisy Parade.
Yeah, I guess the difference being that they haven't thrown away the kills in response. I mean, they've lost the tower, that is a difference. They've lost that top tower here. Intrepid having to leave that lane meant Cannon could get that tower, and they're actually going to get Dragon here, it seems like, out of it. So definitely a good trade there. They're doing kind of the old trade of Dragon, top tower plus Dragon. And that does go down there nice and early. So really nice play. Actually, two-man Dragon from Anivia and Elise. Elise with a Spirit, the Spectral Wraith up already. So pretty comfortably able to actually do jungle a lot better than she would if it was later, of course. Elise not the best jungle clearer, but, you get a major jungle item up fairly quickly here just for 11 minutes. And a Dragon doesn't feel so bad all of a sudden. Jace maybe roaming down as well, but thinks better of it. Walks back to lane with his Tiered Brutalizer. And Visor going to come in here as well. Wants to try and get an ult off, but Janna and Vayne playing very far back here in this one.
So compared to previously Zeus, and we've actually seen the rush on the spirit of the Spectral Wraith here, so the more aggressive of the jungle item choices. This is the one the old one goes for. It does allow you to spell vamp off Smite. It does allow you to have just that much more damage output, but yeah, I mean, you are very flexible as Elise, and it seems like she's snowballing 2-0-1 at the 11-minute mark.
Good defense there from Elise to come in, protect that tower, bit of Janna shield in there as well to make sure that didn't go down. 4-man push has a lot of resources here. Shen's going to get plenty of room to push down top tower if he wants to. Like if they wait just enough time, he's going to have Stand United back in, but that's not going to... Unfortunately, they can't buy that much time, and the tower will go down there. A nice little 4-man coming out from 1-man go, but Intrepid might be able to get this top tower. It's got a big minion wave there, but the rest of the minions are coming in, and at this point, Shen doesn't really have a good way to clear the minions, doesn't have a wit's end. They're just going to have to try and raw dog it here, do as much damage as he can.
And we're seeing Jace rotate up top, so we will not see the turret fall just yet.
I mean, he'll do a good bit of damage to it, but sadly not able to buy enough time to be able to trade for the bottom tower they just lost. So gold actually surprisingly even here. 4 kills up is about 700, and the dragon, sorry, is about 700 plus gold extra for Daisy Parade. But those two towers even in the gold up pretty closely here. There's less than 1,000 between these two teams right now, and certainly Daisy Parade are going to need some towers at some point. I mean, they have Anivia. I guess if they really wanted to, they can just wait and eventually counter push, but I have a funny feeling they want to be trying to take some objectives as well if they can.
Well, the importance of global objectives is actually reflected in the gold lead here. Despite having a 4-kill lead, only 200 gold difference between the teams.
Yeah, how did that even shorten so quickly? That's kind of insane. I guess a bunch of people are CSing and a bunch of other people are coming back. But you're right. I mean, all that global gold's really keeping them afloat here, despite, you're looking at the scoreboard, you think they might be in trouble. Is going to pick up this buff here as well. Collect the blue there from Rubber. And if you're the blue buff, probably the happiest bird alive. Looks like a quick Rod of Age is going to come out here as well for Nivea. In fact, if I tab over real quick, doesn't quite have enough kill. I think about 100 off. But we'll have that Rod of Ages done very, very swiftly at around the 14-minute mark, which a great part-time for that item. We often consider 16 minutes around where you want to be to pick up a Rod of Ages, and 14 minutes definitely no slouch there either.
Not going to be the Blade of the Ruin King pickup on Varus, which is definitely the EU LCS standard play there. Probably a Bloodthirster, I would guess, in terms of clearing. You do see Infinity Edge Varus once in a while, but, the main agreement is on that Blade of the Ruin King, so he's already issued that and trying something different. Yeah,
all his abilities scale pretty well with AD, mostly his Q and his E, so I can definitely see the value in having an item like Bloodthirster, but you're right, Blade of the Ruin King, especially for someone like Varus who has no escapes, no real ways of moving himself anyway, no mobility, unlike Vayne, who has Tumble. He just has his Flash, and if that's gone, of course, then not a whole lot he can do. So Blade of the Ruin King, not only a good item just in general, scales with his W, of course, as well, which is good with attack speed, kind of like Vayne's Silver Bolts, but above all, I think Varus having a little bit of extra peel for himself that he can use, having a little extra slow that gives him a little bit of extra health is something that he really values. And not going to have it this time around. Obviously, going for a much more aggressive, I think, much more wave clear oriented Bloodthirster here, it seems like, anyway. In fact, if he went Infinity Edge, I'd say you'd have to get it very, very early for it to matter. Just because I think the way the game's coming out, I don't think he needs that massive boost of strong damage over time quite yet. I think he's definitely looking to bully a little more.
Answering turrets coming out up the top lane here. Also having a look here, the Mana Moon completed on Jace. It's about 460 mana, so well on the way to the 750 to get the Mirror Mana.
20 minutes seems to be a pretty good time for Jace fully stacked tiers. Probably well on the way to doing that, especially with this blue buff here as well. Perfection just going to take out a couple of these creeps. And looks like maybe rotation towards Dragon. Not quite up yet. About a minute to go there on that one. But they're really camping the enemy jungle. There's both Stars and Perfection just hanging out. Bottom lane rotating up in there as well. Cannon's up top right now. Going to draw Shen up in there. They're going to 1v1 each other again. But yeah, really aggressive posturing through the enemy jungle here. And that, honestly, those two towers are making a big difference in terms of where they can roam through. That whole bottom area of the map where that bottom tower's been taken out is actually space for them to move around to. And they're going to group up and try and take out this mid turret. Cannon actually taking quite a bit of damage up in the top lane, but he's not dead yet. Intrepid does have Stand United as well, so if Cannon can keep the pressure up and not die, if Shen's forced to Stand United in, he might be able to take out the top tower. But it looks like Cannon's actually going to back off here. Feels like he's taking a little bit too much damage, and the 4-man push shut down a little there in mid as Anivia comes in. And I think, honestly, if you see a champion like Jace, who is like very good in, kind of naturally creates double AD comps, which are naturally very good at pushing, I think you really want a champion like Anivia.
She has that wave clear from very early that stops him from auto-taking the turrets down. Obviously, with his hypercharge ability, he can take down turrets super fast with that instant 2.5 attack speed. So, and if he's just going to sit in mid, she's going to farm up very happily and show up at team fights, with some really big items.
Dragon's back on the way here as well. In fact, it has respawned. Jonah's going to start off with the Helmet Gale, and they're going to do Dragon again. So, nice buff control here. Despite not having the tower lead, they're down one in that respect. They have been controlling Dragon nicely. They got a nice first one to start things off, and another quick second one there as well. See the gold just floating forward for them again, about 1,600 ahead now. Still in favour of Daisy Parade. I felt like both teams really wanted to take this game significantly slower than game one. I mean, had that crazy level 1 that really set the tone here, and then of course the dive that kind of put Hecarim back in the game just really tilted the game in a very interesting way. Here's Vayne really digging into Varus there. Very, very aggressive down here. He's really tried to fight Varus at every possible opportunity with this Blade of the Ruined King, and I guess in that situation I don't really blame her. Blade of the Ruined King is a fairly good duelist item, as you've told me. Have to back off, unfortunately. There's potentially people are going to roam down. I have to say, Stars has not had the impact that you really want Vi to have in this game. Actually gets Cocoon there at the end of it, but can't quite land the extra stun. Just a bit of poke coming in there. On the bottom again.
I definitely agree with that point, because she's going to be a melee fighter in the late game. Even if she gets super tanky, unless they get the hero initiation on Vayne, she's going to, die the moment that her suppression ends. So she hasn't got snowballing, that's for sure, but she's going for the more tanky route, which is clearly something she'll need this game.
Sure, and I think at this point, unless you've started snowballing already, you just want to go... You're fairly standard at this point. Spirit of the Ancient Golem into probably Aegis of the Legion, then of course Runic Bulwark on top of that as well. Just nice, cost-effective, tanky items that benefit you and benefit your team especially as well. Liquid Cheese has his Rod of Ages up, by the way. Tier stacks going pretty well. Over halfway now. It's 448 at last check. And now Dragon is gone, so sadly that's not an objective One Mango can try and get in for here.
I think the next Dragon will be interesting, just because that will be when Mirror Man will be completed. Mirror Man is about 2.5 minutes away. We already have the Zhonya's completed on Canon. It feels like that'll be the time when One Mango finally feel like they can pick a fight. Because so far, especially that second Dragon, they would have had that time, but they would have said, hey, we're not in a spot to compete for that just yet.
I have to say as well, in difference from the last game, Intrepid getting off to a much better start here. He's really able to actually fight Cannon and push him back, which is, I guess, compared to Singed, who had quite a few items, is good. And look at these items. He's got the push. He's got the push going here. Sunfire Cape plus Wit's End. Already completed at 19 minutes here for Intrepid. This is the sort of Shen that's scary.
Sure, this is the Shen that's ahead. This is the Shen that Cannon can't hope to duel. So One Mango just have to force fights, use that Vi initiation, and force fights, otherwise they will get split to all hell by Shen.
Yeah, with Cannon Zhonya's, they can kind of go pretty aggressively there. Vi ultimate as well, just to throw it in crescendo. I think they want to maybe group here and just try and take out this mid turret. They've been trying for so long to take this turret out, but Anivia the Wall has really just been clearing out these minion waves as fast as possible. The hypercharge activated at perfection. Got a good chunk of damage under that turret. He's trying so hard to take it out, because they know as soon as they open up that space, they can suddenly go through and ward, all of those enemy jungle, get in oracles and clear it all out, and, make good use of that AoE ultimates. It's kind of funny, like last game, we saw One Mango running the split push. It feels like this game, One Mango are the team that really want to be initiating in groups here, and Emphasis could be in trouble here. Actually gets Stanton out on top as well. Stars trying to go in, but Varus can't quite follow up in time. Intrepid looks for the dash, but doesn't quite get it as Vi queues out, but at least going to tear this one up. Cocoon after the flash just to make sure. And a very clean kill there. Shen forced to leave his lane, but it's already been pushed in. He's already there. Cannon now actually trying to push it back as he returns. And maybe they'll turn around and go for mid. Maybe Intrepid will just walk back to top. But either way, they're pretty happy with that kill there. And Vi, Stars really wanted to be aggressive. It felt like he's been really held this game. Couldn't quite get in there and be as aggressive as he had on Hecarim. And maybe he's just smelt blood. Maybe he was just missing out. Missing the glory days from last game. But that was a little bit awkward, unfortunately. Intrepid quickly answered there with Stange United. And Vayne herself, you don't really want to duel, especially Vayne +1.
Yeah, Vayne with a friend that's making her more healthy and has CC is a scary thought.
Really is here. So again, I feel like One Mango just really want to work on this mid turret. Shen's back in top lane, ready to do the push. Stange United is not up. That is definitely a spectator bug.
Yeah, Stan United's about 2 minutes away.
Certainly hope so. It'd be pretty good otherwise. Just hop everywhere. Liquid Cheese takes a big chunk of damage. There is the Bloodthirster there for Varus as well, so doing lots and lots of poke damage there. Was the other reason I thought they might want to go for that one. Acceleration gates, people toggle back very fast back and forth. And again, now 5 people from One Mango trying to get this tower down. I think they're finally going to be able to do it. Liquid Cheese is very, very low. And yeah, there we go. Finally get the mid turret they wanted. And now I think One Mango have been like, okay, we've got our items, we've got our Muramana, we've got our zombies on cannon, we've got our Bloodthirsters heal up on Varus. Let's fight here. In fact, he's going to be a fight perfection. Completely nailed down. They can't quite get out. Rubber picks it up. Fire does happen. Chanticroft doing a really nice job in there as well. The Monsoon will happen there from Jana, but that was a clean kill onto Jace there for Daisy Parade.
And Rabab is just doing so much work this game. 5 kill involvements out of 6. Hit the cocoon on just the priority member there. Stop the push dead in its tracks.
Yeah, and I mean, Daisy Parade is still up a couple thousand gold. It's not too much, but it's certainly a position I'd like to be in. And unlike kind of how they were before in the first game, you know, they're not just getting kills and losing turrets. They're getting both this time around. They're actually getting kills and they're making something happen of it. And, you know, they've grown themselves a nice little lead, but it's still a long way off to be able to force game 3 here and actually get themselves through and hopefully not have to play immunity. But we'll see. I mean, there's still game here left for both teams. Vi up the top and they're just recalling. Aegis looks like it's on the way to being finished, but not quite there. No, decides not to go back actually. Trolls me. Decides I don't really want to recall. Bottom tower goes down, so 3 for 3 now in terms of turrets. All the outer turrets down yet again.
Great timing on the dragon. It's going to be instantly skilled as it spawns.
And last time we got into this situation, Papa, this feels very similar to game 1. Now, the exception is that there's no real snowball going. Everyone kind of has a pretty good farm level right now. Obviously, the kills are concentrated more in Vayne, so that is a little bit of a worry. And Shen has a couple as well, which is why he's doing quite well. But for the most part, apart from a slight goal difference, you know, their teams are doing pretty well on both fronts, certainly in terms of objectives. You know, they've got the same amount of space to move around the map. Last time this happened, One Mango split push Daisy Parade to death in the last game, more or less. Be very interested to see where Daisy Parade, who have the lead currently, want to take this game from here. You know, their Vayne's doing very well, who's clearly going to be scary and doing a lot of damage. Their Shen's doing really well. You know, do they just leave him to split push? Kind of hard to say exactly what the answer is, but I have a funny feeling that they're going to go, you know, the 1-0-4, Shen up top, everybody else down bottom, and just try and really split push One Mango out of the game.
Yeah, that's what you want to do in every Shen game, and that was what they weren't afforded last game, where he just couldn't stand toe-to-toe to Singed. In this case, Cannon can't stand toe-to-toe with Shen, so they don't really have an answer for Shen apart from using Vi to force hard engages.
Yeah, and with Anivia, I mean, they've got good defense as well if they try and push in. They've just got to find a window. This game, I mean, there's certainly been some kills, but for both teams have played it fairly methodically. It's kind of amazing that one team is even 6 kills ahead, but just made some really good plays, been aggressive where it mattered, some really great ganks from Robert, as you said, some great involvement.
The difference in jungle pressure has been this whole game, basically.
Yeah, and when you're playing 2 aggressive junglers, the one that's, you know, more aggressive usually makes the difference. I mean, last game, Stars was making the difference as Hecarim. You know, got those 2 very convenient kills and then started his snowball. This game, it's all about Robert when it comes to jungle pressure. And, you know, Vi is on the I'm the utility tank jungler plan. You know, these are the items that you just expect to get as a jungler. There's absolutely nothing extra here. It's about as raw as it gets in terms of jungle builds. And Vi's effectiveness, sadly, definitely based on how well she can do in her early game, and Stars definitely kept under control this time around.
And the 4K gold lead, the fact that it's only 4K is just a reflection of some excellent CSing by One Mango, as you see in every solo lane, either equal or ahead in CS here.
Doing really nicely. Looks like they're moving through the side of the jungle. I mean, they are certainly looking for opportunities here. They're roaming through the jungle, they're putting their wards, and Cocoon there under Stars could be bad. He's Howling Gale in as well. The rest of the team coming through. Elise repels out. Crescendo in there, and there's the Vi ultimate to knock down Shazam. Coonan coming in, he flash ults in there with the slicing Maelstrom. And Vayne, sorry, very, very low this time, but still doing good damage. Intrepid coming through there as well. The good zombies there from Kenna, but still gets himself killed. Sona over the top there as Liquid Cheese flashes after him on Anivia. And that's actually a really nice fight. 4 for 0. Perfection, the only one escaping there, who, given his health and mana, probably barely had anything to do with that fight. And he has to watch the other team start Baron now. He can definitely poke, but I don't know if he can stop it.
And it looked like Vayne was more of an assassin than an AD carry in that fight, as she sauntered over straight into the AD carry, took him out, and they had no answer to Vayne free hitting him there. a free Baron. It's looking like we're going to game 3 here, Pastry Time.
May very well be 10-0 right now for Daisy Parade. I mean, they started aggressively in this game. They started aggressively in game 1. Obviously, a bit of a hiccup there. It definitely felt like they were just playing a little bit more carefully, but still trying to use their aggression that they seem to like very well, and just calculate it a little bit more, not go too over the top. And it's really paid off this game. They've got a small kill lead. They've snowballed it now. And, I mean, that Baron buff and 10-0 up, even though the towers are even, I can't imagine that lasts so much longer. And even with the objectives being mostly the same, I guess the 3 dragons extra that Daisy Parade got aside, which is definitely a big deal when it comes to global gold, really carved themselves out a nice lead. And with Baron buff, you have to think they're going to try and get this game to its closing stages.
Some good item pickups on the one mango side, but it's kind of all for naught at this point. Like, Shen will go back to split pushing, and every time they've tried to engage with Vi, it's just not worked out for them. So, and now here comes
goodbye, Ariana Grande. Stand United just to make sure.
He wanted an assist.
He really did, and he got it. I mean, to be fair, there's also Parlay's now seen pushing, and Trepid actually just face tanking right now. Vi's damage. I think Vi has quite a bit of gold to spend still. But she had Blade of the Ruin King Phantom Rancer last time. I have to think
more fantastic Rebub Elise mechanics in the mid lane here, and I think going to the next game, we're certainly going to see some targeted bans coming out of one mango.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we asked the question, what happens when you give the enemy team Kennen and Jace? Apparently picking Elise and having her do really, really well from the jungle is where you want to be. And I think your assessment is absolutely correct, Papa. Jungle pressure made the complete difference. Again, Vayne actually getting ulted there by Vi. Perfection coming in now as well. And the rest of the team still had Janna ready to save her. And unfortunately, Vi, a good effort there. Certainly, Vayne was a bit out of position. That was a nice time to try and pick her off. But the rest of the team still close enough to be able to make sure Vayne was okay. And now it's just everything's going to get pushed in. Every fight's going to be really bad. Not only the gold deficit, but that Baron buff just gives so much extra stats. And the items they finished when they complete a Baron, by the way. We had almost a Randuin's picked up for Shen. We had a Rabadon's Deathcap finished for Anivia. And Vayne, I have to imagine, has some unholy amount of gold to go spend. As well as the Runic Bulwark being finished as well for Elise. So all those items that they'd really want really finished up. And you're right, there are items on the No Mango side, but they are not the same as the items on the Daisy Parade side. And last Whisper now for Vayne, I think spells the end. Especially compared to Varus here. He's got a static Shiv. Definitely kind of a pushing build here, Bloodthirster plus static Shiv, but it's just night and day when it comes to damage output against Vayne right now, and that's going to be the case anyway. Vayne, I think, definitely scales better than Varus, although Varus isn't too bad in the late game, but 3-item Vayne versus 2-item Varus is a big, big difference, especially with this Baron buff still ticking away.
You always pick Varus for his teamfight utility, the fact that he has CC and respectable damage output, but you pick Vayne for hyper carrying. And she's perfectly tooled up to do that here.
Just roaming through the jungle now. Oracle's still on Shazam, so able to clear out all the vision that they need. And Perfection can poke here. Jace has got Black Cleaver, Pickaxe, Muramana. He certainly has damage, but as we said, one of these items is not like the other. Vayne's going to pick up the enemy red buff here. It seems like Daisy Parade may have this one. That was said many times yesterday in their game against Frenetic Array. But I have to think, given how aggressively they played game 1, and with a similar amount of aggression they played this game, yet much more carefully as to not make too many mistakes, I feel like Daisy Parade are going to close this game out rather academically. And then I think we'll be going on to game 3, which I'm assuming for the viewers makes everybody happy. I'll tell you who won't make happy though. One Mango. They would love to win 2-0. Instead, they may have to fight for it in the third game. I mean, as I said, 4 finals. Nothing quite as fitting as a third game, but we still have a little while to go here. I mean, all things considered, the advantage they have, Baron has worn off for now. We'll be back up in a couple minutes. It's likely that Daisy Parade are going to be able to finish that up as well, but there's still some turrets to work through here. There are definitely places where Daisy Parade can mess up, and one Mango can potentially initiate some sort of failed dive, or if they go a little too far trying to tank a turret or push aggressively. I mean, Shen right now is doing the split push. It is honestly hilarious to me that this is almost exactly what one Mango did to Daisy Parade last game. They had a Kassadin and a Singe doing it last time, now it's just the Shen. And to be fair, a lot of this game was won on some really strong team fights on their side. But I mean, the way they're going to end the game seems very, very similar. And I don't blame them. When you have a Shen that's this far ahead, when the rest of your team's doing so well, why not finish the game this way? It just feels so much safer.
Liquid Cheese just seems so comfortable on this Anivia pick.
He really does.
He's really been hitting fantastic QE combos. His walls have been strong. Here we go. Force fire.
Going to Vayne. Oh my goodness. Nice one. Through there. Pushes out Cannon. Vayne doing the damage as well. Vi getting on there. Elise peeling off in there as well. Liquid Cheese still doing damage. Intrepid still not dead. Does get picked up by the poke there from Jace. But not quite enough here. And the inhibitor's still going to go down, unfortunately. 2 for 2 trade. Sorry, 1 for 2 trade with Shen the only casualty. And most crucially, the Vayne is still alive. Look at Liquid Cheese. Trying to pick up supports going left. Just throwing out Qs left, right, and center. Ian people. Having a rabbit on death cap. Feeling good. Vayne's even going to come down and push this lane out a little bit. She's alone, but she doesn't feel particularly afraid. And that one inhibitor gone, I think the rest are probably going to fall fairly shortly, Papa Smithy.
Yeah, I don't see a way back here. I mean, it's nice to be back on the scoreboard. Nice snipe coming out of Jace, but I feel like at this point, Daisy Parade have all the answers. And it just got too far away from them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is the time to ask, what did the Jace pick then, but to be fair, I don't think Jace was really the problem. Everyone had reasonably strong lanes that went quite well, and as you said, the biggest difference seemed to be jungle pressure.
Yeah, it just seemed like the Vi pick, maybe that's a comfort champion for Stars. Maybe he saw something that made him want to pick. It just hasn't worked out this game. Like, Vi never got going. 0-4-1 at the moment. Had to go full tank, which, as a melee fighter, she basically just jumps in, gets her 1cc off and dies. Like, she just isn't contributing much to the fights here.
No, I mean, Oracle's here on supports, is clearing out wards. One Mega is certainly trying to retain control of this game here. I mean, they have a little more space to move. But a pretty epic Baron brush bait is being set up here. Oh goodness, goodbye Sona. I'm sorry. Oh, great wall in there as well. Very nicely played by Liquid Cheese, and there's plenty of CC. That was taunts, that was cocoons, and I'm going to run back and just do Baron here. And one Mango, they can try and fight it here, but this Baron's going to die very, very quickly, and I think it's in their best interest to just maybe save some energy and move on to the next game.
Yeah, look, they haven't been looking to surrender. There hasn't been any failed surrender votes. Oh, as I speak, there it is.
Yeah, that last Baron, I think, is going to put the nail in the coffin. 1-1. We are going to Game 3 here in the final. And what a way to end our second day of the online qualifier here for the Oceanic Season 3 Championships. We will be taking a short break here while we line up the next game. And when we come back, it'll be One Mango up against Daisy Parade. Two teams that had a lot of hype coming into this final, that were doing really well, made their way all through a very difficult bracket to play against each other here for the final. And, they're both in the top 16, but they really, really would like to not play immunity, and just being seeded would feel so much better as you move through your top 16 bracket. So we'll take a quick break, guys. Last game of this best of 3, last game of the evening, and last game for day 2 of the Oceanic Season 3 Championships is coming right up.